Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour. And welcome back to another episode of Hancock's VMware Half Hour. Okay, well, in this evening's video, we're going to revisit our Raspberry Pi CM5 Compute Module 5 with the D0 stepping on ESXi ARM. Which I did a video about. When was it published? Good question. Published 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think. Anyway, so here it is. We're logged in via the HTML client. This is a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 Lite. It doesn't have any eMMC, and we've spoken about the advantages and disadvantages of eMMC in the last video that I'll put in the description if you missed it. And if you watch that video, and if you're currently using Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5, or even a Raspberry Pi 5, actually, a non-compute module variant, and this happens to be an 8 gig version, but I've got a 16 gig version here that we're going to be using later with the D0 stepping. And you may remember, if you watched the last video, that it looked a little bit like this. Just let me zoom in for you. Just let me hit the space bar. Yeah, it looked like this. Because we've had to fettle around with the frame buffer variable, and the only way that we can actually basically get any sensible video output via HDMI was by using frame buffer equals 24. Now, a few people that I follow, and a guy out of Broadcom that works on the ARM project. Hi there, Ciprio, if I've got your name right. Anyway, drop me a message if I haven't. He actually informed me and turned around and said it's not grey over yellow, it's grey over gold. I think I mentioned that in the last video. Anyway, to my surprise, this week, the end of this week, somebody actually basically dropped me a comment on the original video I did. So thanks very much, Spartan. Thanks so much for that. And he just gave me a nod that there has been a change in the CM5, Compute Module 5. Probably also extends as well to Raspberry Pi 5 as well, but there has been a firmware update change. And if I just show you that firmware update change, the Raspberry Pi bootloader EEPROM release notes. Now, let's just ignore Friday the 13th, because on Friday the 13th, I believe that it actually basically did go into the release channel. But on the 9th of June, if we have a little look at update settings alpha for 27120D0, the D0 stepping, D0 move the alpha blend mode from CTL2 to CTL0 update the bootloader code to follow suit for those using the simple frame buffer. So, do we have a fix for our yellow over gold? And that's what all this video is about. So what we're going to do, we're going to update the bootloader. So currently, if we just go back to our, if I just hit the space bar, so you can currently see at the moment that that's what we actually basically get. And I'm going to shut down and restart this server so you can actually basically see. So I'm going to hit an F12, and I'm going to restart this. I say server. I'm going to restart this compute module 5. So I'm going to do a restart, and I'm to be honest with you, really, I'm doing that really from muscle memory, because I know where all the keys are and stuff. So it doesn't really, for me, really have to look at the screen to remember that it's F11 and F12. Anyway, I'm waffling on a bit. Anyway, so this is what at the moment that it looks like when we boot our VMware vSphere ESXi ARM 8.03. You know, we get this, it looks like we've been, I don't know, travel back in time to the 70s, and we're in some sort of weird 80 by 25 ASCII type mode, or you've got some really weird interlacing black and white problem going on. But this is the frame buffer, and we're actually using frame buffer equals 24. If we use frame buffer equals 32, then we basically just get a black screen, although the server does actually post and boot, but we don't get any video output at all. It's just completely black. So what I'm going to show you in this video is how we're going to take this particular compute module 5. We're going to update the bootloader, and then we're going to boot ESXi again, and we will see whether or not that we've got it fixed. We've got yellow over gold. So I'm actually basically going to shut down this particular server because I don't actually basically need it up. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's do it the old, well, it's not really the old-fashioned way, but if I basically just drop off that, and we actually basically go back, and I'm probably going to have to refresh and log in again, because we've actually restarted it since. So just let me drop that keyboard out of the way over there, and let me log in, and we'll shut this server down. Server, compute module 5, if we can call it a server. So just let me log into that. That I can do, and I'm going to drop that into maintenance mode, like we should do, really, to be honest, if you're doing any shutdowns. And I'm just going to big X out of that, and I'm just going to basically say shut down. Now, before I shut down, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut down, I'm going to remove my micro SD card, and I'm going to bob in an SD card which I normally keep around, which is actually stuck on my printer here. And it's missing, but that SD card, when I find it, has actually basically got a bootable version of 64-bit Debian for the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to shut that down, and if we just basically switch back to that, and you can see basically that that's going to go off, and we've got a device offline by Fing, and I'm just going to put this on pause. I'm going to go and change the SD card, and I'll be back. Okay, so here we go. Here's our Debian. So I'm going to log in, and let's have a little look at the version of the bootloader. So I have an SSH connection into my compute module 5, which is running the 64-bit Debian thing that you can use the Raspberry Pi imager. Bob an SD card in your PC or your Mac or your Linux machine, run the imager, download the latest 64-bit OS, put it in your compute module 5, boot it, and you can SSH in. Ignore the Wi-Fi hack. We've actually basically set up the imager to provide the same settings all the time, and this was a project I was involved with a number of years ago. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run a, if I've got the right focus over here, I'm going to run a sudo space rpi-eprom-update. Now, that's going to show me two things. It's going to show me the current version of the bootloader, the date, and it's going to show me the current version that's available to update. So going to show me I'll tell you what, we'll just do it. Okay, so it's already telling me that an update's available. That's good. That's the one that we want. And as you can see here, it actually basically says current. So that's the one that's currently installed. That's the current bootloader installed on this compute module 5. Is on Monday the 23rd September 2024, so it's quite old. And that probably was the last one. And as you can see, the latest is Monday the 9th of June, 9:30, and that actually basically corresponds with the change of firmware that we need. So as it actually basically says there, all we're going to do is a sudo, if I can actually copy it properly, we're going to do, tell you what, just let me actually do that. followed by that. So we're going to do a sudo space rpi-ee-prom, double E, prom, -update-a, and that's going to actually update the bootloader. Then we're going to shut down and restart. So I'm going to do that. So update available, current, updating. This could take a while. Okay, verifying update, verify successful, update successful. So if I do that, okay, we need to actually basically shut down and restart. So I'm going to do a sudo init 6. We're going to restart that. And if I turn off that, turn that on, then we'll wait for that to boot up. And we'll just check that we've not completely balked our Raspberry Pi. We'll log in again via SSH. So I'm just restarting via SSH. I'm just going to log back in. Let's just turn that on and that off. There we go. We'll log back in. And I'm going to do a sudo rpi eprom update, because I want to basically see that we are now on Monday, 9th of June, 9:30 version. So that's it. Our bootloader has been updated. So there's another change that I need to make. And that other change is to change in the config.txt file, where previously we have changed the frame buffer from the value of 32 to the value of 24 so that we can get some meaningful display. We want to change that back to 32. So I'm just going to put this on pause. Tell what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut down sudo init 0. So I'm going to turn that off, turn that on, so we can see that our Pi has now shut down. I'm just going to put this on pause because I need to remove an SD card. I'm half on my chair here between things. I thought that I would actually just show you that here, frame buffer underscore depth equals 32. That would have been 24 originally, where we applied this workaround so that we could actually basically get a screen. So you want to change that back to frame buffer underscore depth equals 32. Or if you're actually basically building the CM5 for the very first time, you don't have to change anything because the default is actually frame buffer underscore depth equals 32. Anyway, so I'm going to remove that SD card. Okay, it boots so fast that I thought I'd just stop it and press escape and then we'll reset again. But anyway, from the following screen that you're currently observing, you are noticing that it's exactly what it should appear like. Not that strange, interlace, weird look that we had previously. But I'll demonstrate that by resetting. You can see this is 2.4 gigs. This is 8192 megabytes. So this is an 8 gig version of the Raspberry Pi Commute Module 5. I do have a 16 gig version. I could hold it up to the camera, but I could be holding up anything to the camera you wouldn't know. But what we'll do, I will actually basically swap that over with the 16 gig version so you can see that this is definitely now fixed. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hit reset. You'll see the Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 boot from the start. Of course, we've got the lovely Raspberry Pi colourful symbol, no longer weirdly interlaced. We've got the lovely black and gold lettering. We can now actually basically see the firmware modules loading, and we can see that we've got the lovely grey over gold. My apologies, I always thought that it was yellow like honey, but apparently it's gold like beeswax. Anyway, so that's it. That really is the fix. So maybe we were just trailblazers all along, waiting for the Raspberry Pi bootloader EEPROM to be updated and changed. I'm hoping now that this might actually basically drive an awful lot more interest in the UEFI code, and we can get it a little bit more polished. We can get it expanded. We can bring Pixie back. We can bring iSCSI back, like we've got in the CM5. who knows what the future holds really for the CM5. Obviously, you're still going to have to use a USB network interface because the internal network interface is still not supported by ESXi ARM out of the box. So I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll log into this. Of course, you know, previously, really, this was just really a cosmetic issue. It didn't really affect the running of our CM5. But if you want to dot the I's and cross the T's and make it all look pretty, then basically the fix is just change your frame buffer underscore depth back to 32 and make sure that effectively that you're on the latest version of the EEPROM from Raspberry Pi. Update it. So there you go. You can't see that, of course, because that's on still. So let me turn it off. There we go. Raspberry Pi Foundation, Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 Lite, 4-time CPU, 7.98 gig. So it doesn't make any difference to that. But what I will do, just for completeness and just demonstrating that, you know, there aren't any smoke and mirrors here at Hancock's VMware half hour, I'm going to tell you how it is. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, it works. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this on pause. I'm going to go and find that other CM5, and I must label these damn things, really, to be honest, because although there is a method of actually working, hang on, just let me get a box. Here we go. Hang on. Okay, although there is a method for decoding CM5108000, the zeros mean that it's light. It's got no EMC. 8 means it's 8 gig. 5 obviously is a Raspberry Pi 5. And the 1, I think, means it's got Wi-Fi. But don't take my word for that. But anyway, I really do need to label them up for the idiot in the room. Anyway, okay, just let me put this on pause. Say what we're going to do. We'll shut this one down. So we'll say shut down. We'll turn that off. We'll turn that back on, and you'll be able to see that shut down. There we go. That's off. I'll put this on pause, and I'll swap them around, and I'll boot the other one up. So here we are. First time. CM5 Compute Module 5 with stepping a D0 stepping using the latest bootloader that was came out on the 9th and eventually went into production, I think, across the repositories on Friday the 13th of June 2025. Unlucky for some. So this is a 16 gig version which has the D0 stepping, but oddly I found that the 8 gig version, although not having a D0 stepping, wasn't working properly with the frame buffer either. So both the 8 gig, both the 16 gig versions, irrelevant of the D0 stepping, both updated to the bootloader that was released on the 9th of June or the 13th of June. Fixes that weird interlacing problem that we had to basically run the simple frame buffer 24 bits to get anything basically output on the screen. Fixed. If the firmware was fixed earlier, it would have caused a lot less issues, believe you me. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching another video by me, Andrew Hancock, at Hancock's VMware Half Hour. If you've liked this video, then don't forget to thumbs up, like, subscribe and share, please. And if you don't like the video, then please drop me a comment as to why you don't like the video. Any questions? You want to engage with us, then drop a comment in the questions, and we'll give that an answer when we've got time, when we've got a moment, and we're not out on the bees. Anyway, so for me, thanks for watching. Thanks very much for watching this evening. Didn't even have a chance basically to drink my soft drink of choice here, a Pepsi Max. But there you go. And just one final thing to show you that, you know, there aren't any smoke and mirrors here at Hancock's VMware half hour. Just let me show you by logging into that machine finally. Tell you what we'll do, we'll just hit enter on there so you can see the lovely grey over gold, as I was told. It's not yellow. My apologies. So if I just turn that off, and here you go. Just saw that annoying save login from 1Password. Okay, so here you go. Raspberry Pi Foundation, Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5 Lite, 15.98 gigs, currently in maintenance mode. So there you go. Fixed. Anyway, so that's it from me. Come back for another video at Hancock's VMware half hour, and we'll have to have a little sort through the requests. Maybe we'll go back and have a little look at a few of the updates that have come out with ESXi 7 and 8 and vCenter Server, and just remind people how we can update those. But in the meantime, be safe and good night.